Hello everyone, today's video is my entry to Draw with Jazza's February challenge, Pimp My Classic. Doodle Stuff messaged me about this challenge back at the beginning of the month, saying it sounded up my alley, and I don't think he could have been more right. It felt like a nice fun thing to do, especially after wrapping up drawing requests for the foreseeable future. It's like a continuation of that idea in some ways, so yeah, I was really excited to give it a go. The rules of the challenge were to recreate a classical painting, one that is more than 150 years old, and pimp it out in a modern way. So the whole idea is reinterpret a classic in a way that makes you think of something modern. I remember him saying something about making a Caravaggio full of 80s pop culture and such as an example. My first idea, which I ended up not going with, was the painting Midsummer's Eve. I'll try and put a picture up somewhere on the screen to show it you. It's by Edward Hughes, but it's just under 150 years old, so I kept to the rule and I went a little bit older. My idea was flipping her around as if she was taking a selfie with the fairies in the background. Honestly, I can see this image so clearly in my mind's eye. I think I'm just gonna have to do it anyway for fun, but I think I'd paint that more traditionally than in today's more digital style. I don't know about you, but if I get a prompt, I usually get one strong image in my head of exactly what I want to do, and if that idea gets dashed, it's like sudden tabula rasa, like a white sheet, and no other ideas will come forward. And usually if that happens, I go for a walk and normally a new idea will pop up into my head. Sometimes if I'm in a peculiar sort of mood, I like to imagine that the ideas are floating in the dust in the air around me. It's as if I need to be outside in the fresh air for like another particle idea to float through into my ear, or maybe up my nose or something to just spark in my brain something new. It's as if like the air in the house is all out of new ideas and I need to get out to the fresh ideas outside. Well, that's how I like to imagine it anyway. So I went for a walk. No new ideas came, and so route number 2, I just asked around. My partner seems to be a good conduit for ideas, and he suggested The Last Supper, because that way I could have lots of characters in one image. His first idea for characters were famous people from the 80s, so maybe Michael Jackson as Jesus, etc. And I really liked the idea, but I didn't think I could depict Michael Jackson, or anyone really, in a realistic way where you could recognise them. So that led to me moving away from the idea of caricatures, as I've just never been great at them, and I didn't think it was something I could draw. So I tried to think of something that I could draw, and that obviously led me to cats. I wanted something that I could get at least 13 famous things of, and internet cats seemed an obvious choice, at least to me it did. Nothing says 2000s internet era and onesies? Tenties? Whatever you call this decade, more than famous internet cats. I'm one of those people that saves my favourite cat memes, I'll admit it. The only problem with this idea are there are too many famous internet cats to choose from. I tried to hide a few in the scene itself, but I also wanted the scene to retain some of the original setting. I know Jazza mentioned wanting the whole scene to be crazy pimped out, but I kind of wanted to hide, or maybe not hide, but add details to the original more than completely changing the original. Reason being, my idea was that they would all be looking at the bread of life, which to an internet cat would be a cheeseburger. I mean, obviously from the old I Can Has Cheeseburger days. And I wanted the cheeseburger to be almost like a funny reveal, but I felt if, you know, the table is, I don't know, like made of Formica, or the walls are brightly coloured rainbow stripes, your eye isn't going to be brought to the centre of the image. Plus, if the rest of the image is classical, the obtuse aspect of the cats is a lot more pronounced. Can you tell I overthought this painting? Okay, yes, it might be a meme joke, but there is a deep concept here too, goddammit. I decided to err towards the cats I consider to be the most famous, like Grumpy Cat, and to choose cats that are more famous on YouTube too, because, well, I mean, I follow them too, so I probably look at them the most, and with this being a video for YouTube, YouTube cats just seem to make the most sense. Which is a shame because Business Cat is one of my favourite cats of the internet, but he's been put on the back burner for this painting. I considered making him one of the tapestries behind them, but again, I really didn't want the image to get all cluttered and painfully detailed, so, you know, he was fired. Now, if you're a little more, let's say, normal than me, you might not recognise every cat that I used. or that could just be my drawing of them. It was funny because some of the cats were weirdly easy to draw, and often these tended to be the ones that I was a bit more apprehensive of drawing. And of course, the ones that I felt pretty confident at drawing took me a few goes, which I cut to stop the video being horrifically long. But yeah, some cats I was really happy with, like Garfy, the ginger angry Persian looking cat. I was really happy with him. But some like Cole and Marmalade, I just couldn't get them to look right, and I don't know why. Maybe it was painting this for hours and I just ran out of steam, I just don't know. But I felt like they were really difficult to draw for some reason. You know, the more I think about it, I'm gonna blame the expressions on them, or the expressionlessness of their photos. Other than Mom, who looks a little gormless, and I'm sorry Mom, I love you really, but they aren't really pulling a face like say Grumpy Cat or Garfy are, so it's pretty hard to make them look as recognisable as cat celebrities. That's where I'm placing the blame, it's them, not me. I'll go through them all in order so you can look them up if you don't recognise them. I think when I first started this painting, my feeling was, hey, I'll spend a couple of hours having some fun, doodling something up, maybe send an image to Doodle Stuff and I'll just leave it there. I wasn't really thinking, oh, I'll get this submitted now, the deadline's coming. Just because, as I've said, I'm in the middle of moving at the moment and I was trying to slow down on YouTube a little, but the obsession isn't so easy to control as I thought it would be. So it hasn't been as easy to limit myself on that or this painting. When it got down to painting Grumpy Cat, I was having too much fun. This has been a really brilliant challenge just to chill out and paint something silly because I wasn't really thinking, oh, pressure, big competition or something. I ended up spending a lot of my evenings just doodling this one up. So even though I felt that way, because I've spent so much time and I've somehow finished this before the deadline is, I think I will try and submit it. I haven't really used Newground since probably around the time I was on Agnes Cheeseburger a lot, so a fair few years ago now, but hopefully I can get my head round how to submit it. But the point I wanted to make was, even if there's only a few days left by the time that this video ends up being uploaded, I do hope that if you get a fun idea, that you give this challenge a go. I'll post the link to the challenge video below if you're interested in hearing the ins and outs and more details. But it really is a very fun prompt, and yeah, I had a lot of fun making it, so I hope you enjoyed the final painting too. I've been trying to think of a topic that makes sense to talk about in this video other than the challenge itself, and can you imagine, the only thing I can think about is discussing cats in general. If you've seen a few of my videos, you know I've got a cat called Rory. He's my one and only firstborn child, he knows it very well. We adopted him from Cats Protection just over 2 years ago now when he was 4 months old. I remember my partner showing me a picture of him and I was like, really? This one? Because he had big bits of snot all in his nose and he was squinting with one eye. I mean, he doesn't really photo well even now. Plus he's a ginger cat and I was never really a big fan of ginger tabbies. But he obviously turned me around on that. Yeah, he did have a snotty nose till he was about 1, and he still gets it from time to time when the weather's a bit funny. The charmer that he is. But he's an odd ginger cat. I mean, his fur's like a more dark orange. I took him to the vet a while ago and he mentioned that he was a weird colour too, and I think it's because if you look at his undercoat, there's all these random black hairs dispersed in the white. And it's a pain because it doesn't show up very well in photos. In photos he looks super saturated orange, but in person his fur's quite like a dark orange. See how well me ranting on about cats is working. This is the trouble of working so long on a painting that even 3000 speed the video is hitting 17 minutes long. I think that's kind of what brought me to Rory as a topic. I could talk to him till you fall asleep, which is probably happening right now at this point in the video. But what I was wondering, if you have listened this far, is what are the topics you could speak forever on? That go-to topic that you're so enthusiastic about that you could talk someone's ear off about it. I'd say Rory is one of mine. Pretty much anybody that I love will get to be in that category. I like thinking about what makes them so special, their idiosyncrasies, good or bad, that I enjoy. It's why I think writing characters in books that feel real is so difficult. Real people are so detailed and they have so many little nuances. It's really hard to bring that to someone non-existent, or I think it's hard to do anyway. Another topic I could probably talk for hours on is art. I like the history art a lot, obviously, with drawing requests being this little series I did. But I like the history and the culture around it too. I think that art has a great way of reflecting back those two things, and yeah, I just think that those topics are really interesting. So yeah, I'd say that my endless topics, as I'll call them, are probably people and cats that I love, and maybe history, culture, and when art comes into that, even better. But how about you? What topics can you talk for hours on? If you've got this far, I'm expecting lots of comments delving into the depths of your favourite things now. This is like a test to enter a secret club. You know, I've considered that before, hiding like a word or a topic that you can only reference in a comment if you listen to the whole video. I have no idea what to call a club like that, but I think it'd be fun, especially when it comes to longer videos like this. Obviously, suggestions welcome. So let's try and bring it full circle back to the actual painting. I have no clever segue, so I can only apologise. To go through the painting from left to right, the cats are Cole, then Marmalade. They're a pair of internet cats who are adorable, and their cat daddy has a really nice extra channel called Catman Chris, where he rescues cats. And, you know, I obviously prefer adopting cats, hence Rory. And then next to Marmalade is Lil Bub. She's a cute little rescue cat too. She's disabled and is what's called a perma-kitten. She keeps permanent kitten features. She's very famous now just for being adorable mostly. Then you have Pasheen. I kept the cartoon characters the same as they always appear for this one, just because the jarring appearance is fun anyway, and I didn't think they'd be recognisable if they were drawn realistically, so why change a classic? Next is Shironeko, in the back with flowers in his hair. Shiro meaning white in Japanese, he literally is white cat. He's very zen and chill, and that's what he's famous for. These sound more odd than I realised until I'm saying them. Next is Keyboard Cat. Has to be one of the most famous internet cats. He's from an old videotape of a cat playing the keyboard. What more can you say than that? And Jesus had to be Grumpy Cat, or Grumpy Cat had to be Jesus. First question I had to ask myself when I started this painting was, who would be the cat Jesus? And I think he was the right choice. Go disagree with me below. I chose Grumpy Cat because I feel like he is the first cat internet celebrity. A lot of these cats are famous through the internet for things or a meme, but Grumpy Cat is famous in his own right. I sound insane. Grumpy looks this way because of an underbite and dwarfism. She always looks furious, and it's wonderful. On her right is Simon's cat from the cartoon Simon's Cat. Really wonderful animations that are very close to home for a cat owner, I think it's fair to say. Then is Maru. Maru might be the first internet cat I remember watching. He's Japanese like so many cute cats are, and he loves jumping in boxes. And then it's Long Cat. Okay, I know, Long Cat is a meme, but I love Long Cat, and I thought he'd make for a hilarious image hovering over the scene. So he outranked some of the other meme cats for that reason. It was to build the aesthetic. And then, oh, I think this is the worst one, but it's Henry the cat. I struggled so much with his catly features. Henry is a cat from YouTube. He suffers from existential dread and has a hilarious French accent. I love his comments on his buffoon brother whenever he turns up, and I feel like his voice is close to how all cats would speak internally, so he's a personal favourite, and I find it a bit of a shame that I couldn't get him right. Next is Garfy. He's as angry as Grumpy Cat is grumpy. He's a furious little kiddo, and I love him very much. And finally, at the last at the table is Toast Cat. A toast cat isn't really one specific cat, or I don't think it is. It's more of a meme to put your cat's face in a slice of bread, and I thought this reference image was the cutest, so I went with that one. I also hid Ceiling Cat up above them, and Yang Cat is flying across the sky behind them. I was trying to think of ways of including cats that didn't veer too far from the original. I have this feeling everyone's going to have all these wonderful ideas of how to include more cats into this image, and maybe one day I'll edit it with more of your ideas for fun, but for now I'm happy with how it turned out. This is the first digital painting I've done where I feel like I'm getting my head around Photoshop brushes. I've made a little toolbox here on Photoshop with my favourite brushes, and I've called them things like watercolour, pastel, pencil, etc. Because I always feel a bit too spoilt for choice when it comes to Photoshop brushes. So much choice it is hard to know which one I should even use. But today I tried to make every cat in a slightly different style. Some are soft, some have sharper blocks of colour, some are mixed between the two. Each is a bit individual, which made this project a lot of fun because I kept changing up the style as I was going. I wanted the overall end image to feel almost like I cut these cats out of a magazine and collaged them onto the original. I think that's because back on Pimp My Ride, you could always tell, even with all the cool new dealies, what car was under everything. So I didn't really want to lose that feeling when it came to this painting. I wanted to make it clear that here are the bells and whistles. Anyway, I'm out of breath. This is one of the longest commentaries I think I've ever done. I had so much fun trying this challenge. I haven't laughed this much painting in a long time, and even though I think I will end up entering this, I'm happy not expecting anything more to come from it. For one, I think I'm going to see hundreds of cool takes on this challenge. It's too good an idea not to have loads of great entries, which isn't necessarily a bad thing really. Hopefully I can find some more art channels from it too, and hopefully some of my art friends here will do the challenge and I'll get to enjoy watching what they come up with too. So yeah, this was a great laugh. I definitely recommend it, competition or not, to have a little fun. I think it's important to take a break from seeing art as something serious if you tend towards that, like I do sometimes. So this is a great prompt to go a little crazy on. I really hope you enjoyed this painting. Leave me your thoughts below if you want to chat, and I'll see you again soon.